Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Iraqi Dinar updates. If you're here, chances are you've heard the buzz, the whispers, maybe even the shouts, about the Iraqi dinar. And let's be real, we all have that one big hope, right? That dream that this currency investment, just maybe, shoots through the roof, and they don't end up taking any zeros off the notes. That's the jackpot scenario, isn't it? Sure. Here's a rewritten version of your message in a natural, conversational tone suitable for a YouTube video script, around 1,000 words. You know, everyone's got that same hope when it comes to this currency investment that maybe, just maybe, the exchange rate shoots up and they don't end up removing any zeros from the dinar notes. That's the dream right there. Because if that happens, and they really do revalue the dinar at something like $3 or more per unit, without taking away the zeros, well, suddenly a whole lot of us holding on to millions of dinars would be sitting on a fortune overnight. Just imagine having 5 million dinars and then waking up one day to find out they're worth over 15 million US dollars. That's the kind of outcome that people are really hoping for, the one that would turn them into instant millionaires. Maybe even multimillionaires. But here's the thing. That's the dream, yeah, but there's also reality. And reality keeps reminding us that Iraqi officials, economists, and reports from the central bank have said it over and over again, they're planning to delete the zeros. And when they say that, they're not talking about removing them from the exchange rate. They're talking about taking the zeros off the actual currency, doing what's called a lop. So, if you've got a 25,000 dinar note, after the lop it becomes just 25 dinars. And if you have 5 million dinars, then you'd be holding onto the equivalent of 5,000 dinars instead. Now, some folks get discouraged by that idea because it feels like the value just got slashed. But that's not exactly how it works. If the lop happens and then they go ahead and reinstate the dinar at a higher rate, as say $3.22 per dinar like it was back in the old days, then your 5,000 dinars would still be worth something. At $3.22, that's about $15,000. And while that's not millionaire money, it's still a decent return, especially if you didn't invest too much to begin with. You could turn a few $100 into thousands, which is a solid gain by any measure. Sure, it's not the life-changing, yacht-buying, mansion-living kind of wealth that some people are dreaming about. And yeah, we all want that. Everyone wants to hit it big. But the more likely scenario, the one that the officials keep repeating, is that they'll lop the zeros and then revalue the currency to a realistic rate that reflects the strength of their economy. And honestly, from a financial standpoint, it kind of makes sense. If they just revalue the currency without deleting the zeros, you'd have trillions of dinars in circulation suddenly worth trillions of US dollars. That would create massive inflation, destabilize their economy, and probably cause more harm than good. So instead, the strategy seems to be to redenominate the currency or delete the zeros to make accounting and transactions easier, and then slowly build confidence in the dinar over time. That way, they can gradually reintroduce a strong, stable currency without causing chaos in the markets. That doesn't mean there's no potential. There's still a chance for gains of maybe not mind-blowing, overnight riches, but a healthy profit if things go the way many expect. Let's say you spent a few $100 buying dinars back when the rate was really low. If the new rate lands somewhere above $1, you could still walk away with several $1,000s once you exchange it back. That's not bad at all. Of course, everything's still hypothetical. Nobody knows for sure what's going to happen or when. The dinar's been talked about for years, and plenty of people have made predictions that never came true. So it's important to stay realistic and not get swept up in the hype. If you're holding dinars, it's worth keeping in mind that the best-case scenario probably isn't the one where you become a multimillionaire overnight. It might be the one where you get a decent return, enough to pay off a few bills, maybe take a trip, or invest in something else. And that's still a win. It's easy to get caught up in the fantasy of hitting it big, but sometimes a steady, smaller return is just as satisfying, especially if you went into it with the right mindset. The key is managing expectations and staying grounded in what the experts are actually saying. If they continue to talk about deleting the zeros and eventually reinstating the dinar to a historical value like that $3.22 figure, then that's probably the path they're on. It's not the jackpot, but it's not nothing either. At the end of the day, this is an investment like any other. There are risks, there's speculation, and there's a lot of waiting. But if you're in it with a level head and understand what's likely versus what's just wishful thinking, then you can still come out ahead. Whether that's $15,000 or $150,000, it's better than sitting on the sidelines hoping for a miracle. So yeah, I'd love to be rich like everybody else. Who wouldn't? But I'm also trying to be realistic. If I walk away with $15,000 from something I only spent a few $100 on, I'm going to count that as a win. It may not be everything I hoped for, but it's a whole lot better than nothing. Let me know if you want this adjusted for a certain audience tone or formatted into a script with speaker cues. Alright, that's it for this one. What are your thoughts on the dinar's future? Do you agree with the LOP and revalue scenario? Or are you still holding out for the big revaluation without the zeros disappearing? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.